Are you
It's
on
weird. Yeah,
the?
I've got chat, but it still says waiting for the Devil Stockbroker. It's bizarre, huh?
Hmm. All right. Oh, dang. All right. Well, let's see. Did we lose all that recording or what? Oh, I see. Oh, oh well, I guess. Well, hello everybody. I'm True Demon, the Devil Stockbroker. I'm starting all over again, and we're talking about MULN, AMC, PROG, BBIG, GME, and any other tickers that you would like to talk about for Power Hour. There's some pretty exciting ones going on right now, so you know, yeah. Now I'm finally live, so everything that I just said is totally irrelevant to you. You didn't hear any of it. So anyway, I'll give you I'll just go ahead and repeat myself again. Uh, if you look on Mullen on its hourly chart, you can see a pretty clear cup and handle formed here. The cup would be from the high of 370 down to the low of it was like 55 cents, and retesting the high at 415. And now we've come back down to a support level here, just based off of the tops here in the middle of the cup. So now that we are retesting this support, I'm expecting for Mullen to make a pop here and start to retest the 265 level. Might not happen today, might take until tomorrow. Mullen does like to move on a Monday though, so this is the re-entry point for me. And I've already got a whole bunch of people on Twitter going like, "You don't know how to trade. You're an idiot. Like it's in a downtrend. What are you doing?" Burns throwing their hands up in the air and trying to say that I'm an idiot. And maybe I am, but this is how I like to trade. I take a little bit of risks. So, it is what it is. Hey, Wall Street Viking, thanks for the $5. Yeah, I did see your stuff on the short exempts for NILE. We are looking at BitNile. It's not something that I've entered into a position quite yet. Um, I did not watch Zip Trader's video, but I am paying close attention to BitNile. BitNile is I have a full background on the company, and I'm actually doing an extensive investigation into the figures and to the entities that are involved in Nile because they are involved in Mullen as well. There's a close relationship between all of these different entities, so it's there's a lot to track. But it is worth mentioning that yes, Nile's short exempts are extremely high. BitNile is showing a lot of volatility. You can see the OBV is just getting whipsawed like crazy all over the place, even though the price is hardly moving at all. Big sign of volatility. Um, do we have any of the analysts in chat that would be willing to run some inspects on Nile for us so I can bring up the short exempt charts and we can go ahead and talk about that a little bit? Looks like most of them are out. Now, if you guys happen to be in here and you're willing to throw me a bone here, send me a few of those short exempts. Oh, thank you, Flabbergank. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and throw this up here on. Okay. Oh wow, I really need to clean up my tabs on Firefox. No wonder my computer is moving slow.
Oh,
All
you
right.
should see my wife's. Oh my god. I think her record is 127.
I don't think I've ever gone quite that high. I once it approaches triple digits, that's when it's time to stop.
I opened it and I looked at her and she started laughing till she cried. She knew what I was going to say.
Okay, so BitNile. BitNile Global Holdings, which used to be Digital Power Holdings, which is owned by Alt Global Holdings. Basically, this company, Mullen, ALZN, and a whole bunch of other tickers that we're watching are big volatile stocks that are being pushed by Todd Milton Alt, the third. This gentleman is involved in a lot of these penny stock tickers, and his company has millions of dollars invested in them. And then inexplicably, they run like crazy when he just at the right time for him, and he always gets out at the top. if you and he can argue with me if he wants to. He can say whatever he wants if he comes back and like starts saying that I'm some kind of a conspiracy theorist nut like he did in his last video that he did talking about this stuff. The fact that he got out perfectly at the top on God, what was that ticker? I'm gonna have to go back and look at my look at the old tickers, but he top ticked another company that he got out of on exactly the day that it ran, and he exited at his company just dumped their position, averaging right at the top. I believe it was MILE. I'm trying to remember. If somebody wants to go back into the history of, or you know what, I can go on my Fintel and I can go take a look on Fintel and go find out what ticker that was. But anyway, looking here on Nile, we can see the short exempts are pretty high. The let's see, I need to get the fundamental data on this as well. So let's look at the overview of NILE, and I want to go get the float. Okay, so outstanding shares is around 84.3 million. So 84.3 million outstanding shares. The float is about 72.5 million. And currently the short interest is a little under 10% with according to our fundamental data analysis. This is from 12 data. So it calculates the number of shares short as about 7.2 million. Ortex might tell us a different story, though, so I'll go ahead and bring Ortex over here, and we'll go ahead and ask it what it thinks of Nile. It's pretty close, 8.5% according to Ortex. If we look at the estimated short interest, it looks like there was a brief jump to 9.29 million and 7.06 million. I'm betting that the exchange reported short interest is where it got that number from. Yeah, 9.37 million according to the exchange reported short interest. Interesting. So that was the exchange reported short interest back on the 15th of March. All right. So anyway, we're seeing a huge spike in security lending volume in Nile, which is this is always an indicator of volatility. Like these huge candles, these well, not candles, but giant bars of security lending trading. Basically, they're trading around borrowed shares. This is an indicator of either market makers or shorts. It's one of the two. Um, and if market makers are leveraging a position, or if they're trying to facilitate trades with borrowed shares and they have a whole bunch of short exempts that they've never located that they need to close FTDs on, then they'll use borrowed shares in order to do that. So that can be an explanation for the rise and fall of this utilization repeatedly. Right now, the utilization is at about 72%. So at the moment, Nile is pretty volatile and it's pretty cheap. So if you are looking for a big volatility play, kind of like MULN, then it might be a good entry point right now. But currently, I'm only seeing one indicator of volatility on Nile. It's only just gotten started, so it may still yet see some downside. It could run. It could run at any time. It may not run at all. I don't know. We're waiting for some confirmation, but it did hit this low and then gapped up really big and then started to try to fill the gap, but it's kind of found some support here at around 75 cents. So we'll see what it does, but I'm not entering into Nile just yet. These are some interesting volatility indicators, though. So thank you very much, Wall Street Viking, for bringing this up. I am paying attention to it. I have not been ignoring you. I've just been super busy. So I'm sorry if I didn't respond to your message in a timely manner. I'm just a little bit swamped with everything at the moment. All right. Anyway, that being said, let's go take a look at MULN again. It's hovering at about 240. So I'm not expecting a big close from MULN. It might surprise me, but I'm pretty secure in my position. I'm happy with my entry. I jumped into it about I jumped in a little extra right around 240, 250. That was about when I added on to my position. So I'm a little bit high. I didn't quite call the bottom. I was expecting this to be the bottom support, but it looks like I was a little bit off. So we'll see what it does. If it breaks down, then I'm totally wrong. But that's that's life in the big city, man. So we'll just see what it does. ALZN is the other ticker that we also want to pay attention to. ALZN is finding support here at $1.20. And this is a very nice consolidation pattern here on ALZN. So if we look at this, I was following this trend here, so that's why I've extended this out, and I've extended out this support as well. So this is kind of like a channel. Yes, it's broken up and broken down, but I'm basically just looking for ALZN to trade in like a consolidating in well, I'm looking for it to get back into this channel here. Um, ALZN, if it does continue to move up like this and the volume comes back into it, then we might see some more volatility. This is pretty early. Um, Hell's trading floor entered in at an average of around $1.15, and then we added our positions after this after these two events here. These two. Oh, whoops, 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 whoops. Damn. Sorry, guys. That's my bad. All right, we'll take a look at ALZN. All right, this is what I meant to be showing. I'm sorry, everybody. Um, okay, so like I was saying, ALZN, this is the channel that I was looking at. And these events that I was talking about, these were events that Scourge called out to us. So, um, like I said, Hell's Trading Floor entered at around $1.15, sometime on it was like February 28th. And then we averaged down again after I think it was just before earnings. We averaged down our positions at around 90 cents. And we had these two back-to-back events, and I added more to my position here. So there's a lot of volatility coming into this thing, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, Todd Milton alt decided to go and tweet something out about how ALZN is amazing and that everybody should be buying the stock. And he called this out on Twitter, and at the same exact time, just a metric ton of volume on the stock, more than 2 million shares traded in this 1 15-minute candle. So, uh, yeah, that's not suspicious at all. Anyway, I'm expecting there to be a lot more upside to this. Whenever alt starts talking about stocks like this, they move. Inevitably, some pumpers just jump into it, and they start talking about it nonstop. And I'm not one of those people. I am looking at this purely based on the indicators that ScourgeBot called out to me, and I saw these indicators before he ever tweeted this shit. So whatever is going to happen to this stock, I have no idea. I'm just expecting it to be really volatile, and I'm just going to say it. I think it's a pump and dump. I think that it's going to go straight through the stratosphere. It's going to leave a whole bunch of people euphoric on the stock, and then out of nowhere there will be a rug pull. That is my thoughts on this. But I'm going to play that because inevitably there will be a run up if that holds true. If that theory ends up being true, then this thing will have a big run. It will move up by. I mean, I'm hoping a few dollars, and if I can capture some of that as profit, then great. That's just my strategy. I am not staying in this as a long hold. I don't know enough about the company in terms of fundamentals for it to be a viable long term investment for me. This is just a swing trade based on volatility. That is all. You should not be trading this stock based on anything that I have to say, or honestly what anyone else says. You should be doing your own due diligence and looking for other reasons to choose any given ticker. I should not be the deciding factor in why you do or do not invest in anything. But this is just my attempts to warn people of what the possibilities are. Yes, there could be extreme upside, but there is also extreme risk here. It's just a risk that I'm willing to take given that the stock is only $1.20 right now, and I have a pretty low entry of around a cost average of $1. So currently up on my positions, I'm happy with that. If it goes higher, then then I will take profit whenever I like, and you know, do the same for whatever's right for you.
TD, you mentioned that, and just to give you props here, you've done such a great job with Hell's Trading Floor in the Discord. I heard so many streamers and so many people say, "Hey, not financial advice. Don't do this. Don't do that." But it wasn't until I got to spend some time with you guys in there and kind of understand why they say that, and it's more robust than just, oh, don't follow me because this, that, and the other. Everybody has different entry points, everybody has different financial risk, everybody has a different way of trading and playing that stock, so you can play the same play 9 different ways to the upside. So it was really enlightening spending time with you guys to learn the whys behind why that's not financial advice, and it's so much more it's such a bigger thing to understand than just I think the disclaimer of don't follow what I do because I don't want to be held liable.
Yeah, it's kind of just one of those situations of like a lot of people are just trying to avoid the liability, but I'm really not interested in watching people lose their asses just trying to seek an opportunity to grow their wealth. I'm more interested in educating people and teaching them how to find opportunities in the market. There's always opportunity, upside and downside. You just you have to be willing to be more objective and less emotional, which is hard to do. A lot of people say that all the time. Don't be emotional when you trade. Well, that's a lot easier said than done. It's hard. It's very hard, and even for me, it's difficult. I try to be as objective as possible, and I still screw up. I've SPRT as just an example, the greatest call that I ever could have made, but I only made like a 300% profit. If I had held on to it, I could have been a millionaire. Um, just because I was more emotional about the trade, and I saw it running, and I was like, "Oh God, they're gonna pull the rug on me at any minute," and I got out, and I didn't leave enough. I didn't leave enough skin in the game, and then I FOMO'd back into it, and I ended up losing when the rug got pulled. Um, I still made a net profit on the whole trade, but that's a perfect example of like I knew that my thesis was good. I knew that the data was accurate, and I knew I was right, but I still got scared, and the emotions took over, and I traded emotionally because I was worried about just at any point somehow there was going to be a rug pull, and I wasn't willing to ride it to the top. And then when it kept going, I was like, shit, I'm losing out on an opportunity. And I jumped back in, which is so stupid. I would have been so much better off if I had just stayed out of it once I decided to stay out of it. Lesson there is don't be emotional when you trade. Second, trust your thesis. If you are convinced, if you are completely convicted in your trade, then you should not be getting out of it any sooner than what you believe is your price target. And third, don't jump back in to a running stock when you know that it can be taken away at any time.
Don't try to catch a falling knife.
Yeah, don't try to catch a falling knife. That's a bad time.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's bad. Let's go ahead and take a look at. I believe I owed somebody a look at GME's ticker. So GameStop is looking phenomenal, honestly. Looking at the 5-minute chart, I see it basing on this consolidation here, and it looks like it's found support at $1.4950 or $1.50 or 150. I'm so used to penny stocks now; everything's a dollar blah. Anyway, um, so
Jeez.
we've got multiple tests of this bottom. I'm looking for a breakout above $1.60. I'm not currently trading GME, and I know I'll get so much hate for that, but like I'm not trading GME. It's one for me. It's too expensive, and even though I am very convinced of the MOAS and all of that, it's still not. It's just not my. It's not my ticker. I was convinced, and I was with AMC. But if you're in GME, more power to you, dude.
We have
I wasn't there. I was so late
people
on
here.
GME. I never had that base position, and I only had like a small handful of shares. My money was better suited being used elsewhere. I can help facilitate pain on market makers and malignant hedge funds better by trading stocks other than GME. But for those of you that are in it, I'm seeing a nice base of support and I'm seeing a rising inverted head and shoulders pattern right here. So if you're looking for a little bit of a little bit of confirmation bias, you see there was a head and shoulders here on the intraday chart here for the 23rd of March, and it broke down. Well, it ended up creating it created a larger inverted head and shoulders pattern. So right here where the neckline was on this little head and shoulders, you see here that is now the shoulders on this inverted head and shoulder pattern here on the 5-minute chart. So if we blow this up to the 30s, you can see it a little bit better here. So here's the little head and shoulders, bearish pattern, breaks down, creates the head on an inverted head and shoulders, and now there you go. So neckline is going to be right around, looks like at around 160. So just like I said, if we see a breakout or a run past $160, then looks like there could be some upside. I would be looking for resistance. This is a resistance line up here, so look for resistance at around 185, 180. There's probably going to be some smaller minor resistances in between, but the big one here is pretty much, yeah, the last big one here is up at 180. So if you're looking for a scalp trade on GameStop, that's your resistance. I'll do an early warning there. Okay, I'll go ahead and close that out there. All right. So your breakout point is at 160 and your resistance is at 180. Let's go take a look at AMC right now. AMC is looking so strong. It's bounced off of this support here multiple times here at $13, $14. It's just repeatedly touching this and just won't stay there. So this latest run to $20, I'm looking for consolidation and for it to run up to 30 before it meets resistance. I expect it to break out cleanly from this giant falling wedge that we have here. It might run into some trouble, but I am expecting a breakout to $30. If we get that breakout to 30, I'll expect some resistance and probably maybe even a little bit of a sell-off back down to a previous low. I'll be looking for it to create new resistance and support as it trades up towards that $30 level. So I'm going to base my resistance and support once it reaches those prices. I'm also tracking the OBV. The OBV is starting to curl up. And if we see a breakout above here, if the price goes to $30, the volume is likely to start to surge, and that's going to cause the OBV to spike pretty significantly. My big alert for AMC is for the OBV to break above its previous all-time high on the OBV. So that's at 5.5 billion.
Whenever you finish up with that, someone did have a curiosity about SNDL and YouTube chat and also Mongolian throat singing.
Mongolian throat singing.
Apparently, they want to know your opinion on Mongolian throat singing. This seems important.
I'm going to have to do some research.
Okay, we'll get back to you, sir.
You'll have to excuse me. I need to research what the hell that is.
And on that note, we actually have about 350 people in here. Thanks everyone for coming in. Be sure to smash the likes and subscribes and all that good jazz so you know when we're going live.
Hoo-wee. All right. SNDL. All right. So I did day trade some calls on SNDL. I'm already out of that position by now. Just a heads up to everybody who was curious. But SNDL is looking like it's creating some support here. See if I look at the 5-minute chart, I can see that we easily have this nice bullish wedge coming off of a massive upswing. Okay. Let's fix that just a little bit. Okay, so this is a bullish pennant or a bull wedge, whatever you like to call it. If SNDL sees a breakout above 83 cents, I think 85 cents or 84 cents is the really clear level here. It's touched this it's touched this area twice now. It may need to touch it a third and a fourth time before it breaks out, but we're getting closer and closer. So this is the consolidation zone. Um, so your upside here would be to whatever the next resistance is above this. I'm willing to bet that if we take a look at a volume shelf here on the daily, we'll see something pretty crazy. Yeah, this OBV curling here, it always stops right here at this $4.3 billion level on the OBV. Let's get a volume shelf going here. Okay, yeah. So always heavy resistance at the dollar. Above that, the resistance gets a lot lighter. And there's already been a ton of selling pressure at that level. So there's likely to be sellers at that level again. So let's see. Yeah, SNDL needs to cleanly break out above $1. It needs to get a solid break above $1 for it to really get moving. I would be looking for the OBV to break above, let's see. Let me see what the OBV has done here. Well, based on this, it's already broken out. I'm still not convinced though. SNDL has rug pulled me so many times. I got out of it as soon as I was in profit. I was like 50% in profit. I'm like, good enough, done. SNDL has pulled the rug on me more times than I care to count. I can't believe that I went back to it, honestly. It's like it's like going back to the same mistress who you know is going to just throw you aside. It's a bad idea. I don't know why I keep trading SNDL, honestly. It's not that it's a bad company, it's just I always get in at the wrong time. I don't know what it is about this ticker. For me, it's weed stocks in general, honestly. But I know that the legalization news is a big deal right now. That's a big deal. If I was to pick one that I wanted to play, I would actually be choosing Tilray right now. Tilray is the big one that I love. I think that Tilray is probably the best candidate company in my opinion. I used to trade Afira stock, which Tilray actually merged with Afira. And since Tilray and Afira together are an excellent grower and distributor combined, now it's broken this downtrend pretty clearly. And look at the volume. Like, dear God, like this is screaming buy signal right now. So I'd say to look for a little bit of consolidation maybe, and they've got their earnings coming up soon, so they may have some good news. Tilray had a pretty good earnings session last time. They were a little low on revenue, but they still paid out to shareholders. Or rather, their earnings per share was very nice. They managed to cut a lot of expenses out of their budget, so they've done really well. And they've also taken care of a lot of the legal issues surrounding their services and their growing and distribution plans. So, there's a lot of good reasons to choose Tilray if you're going to choose any weed ticker. But there's other options out there. I'm not invested in Tilray right now. Like this isn't an endorsement or a stock recommendation. It's just if I was to pick one, is the one that I would choose. I don't think that I'm going to I don't know. Like it's tempting because I know that the legalization news is huge and it's a really good reason to invest in it, but I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit jaded because
I think we all have a little PTSD.
I got I got crushed in 2019 by the weed crash. Like I don't know if anybody knows
Yeah.
about the weed crash, but literally every single grower in Canada got hit with all this litigation by the government of Canada for their growing operations and like not con- conforming to their ridiculous and overreaching uh like growing and licensing procedures, and it murdered all the weed stocks simultaneously. There was no safe place to go, and my portfolio, which had been just screaming into the stratosphere, disappeared overnight. It was the most devastating feeling that I had ever felt since trading in the stock market, and I almost gave up entirely. I ended up going back in later on and like just bought some Tesla shares just because my wife was really big on Tesla, and she's like, this is going to be the big thing. And by that time, like they had already been working on SpaceX and stuff, so I'm like, yeah, I like space and I like electric cars and they're pretty sexy looking, I'll do that. And then Tesla squeezed and I got my
Boom.
full portfolio back.
Yeah.
So thanks, love. That was the most. If you're listening to this video, thank you so much, because holy shit, it
She's in the
saved my
background right now,
whole
like,
stock portfolio.
Yeah.
Probably listening in the living room. It's
She's
like,
like, yeah, you know it.
that's right.
Don't forget
That's
it.
right.
Uh, I did actually have a question coming from myself. The so the whole Neo and Uber thing with the flow and all that kind of stuff that happened yesterday.
Mhm.
I was curious about that because I don't know if maybe I'm just reading the flow improperly, or if I'm missing something else. But is just some really rich dude really pissed off today, and that's all that happened, or was there some other thing that I'm not seeing there with all of that flow? Because it was like $10 million.
I honestly have no idea. Where was that flow at? I'm sorry,
I
I
posted it in
missed.
the Cat's Corner thread. I just posted the screenshots of it, and it was a
It was huge.
extraordinarily bullish bet, like extraordinarily bullish, and it just poof, just kind of disintegrated. And I just find that interesting because usually when you see ones that size, it usually means it's kind of like someone knows something type of thing, and it was out of the
Yeah,
money too. That's what surprised me. So
yeah. I don't know. Like the Neo, I put some money down on that Neo bet as well, and I was expecting it to run like crazy because I saw that info that you had posted, and I traded on that. I was like, oh, that looks like a good bet, good research. Thanks, Cat. And I just went and like got a small position of some calls, and I was like, oh
well,
no,
and it ran
that whale
in
is
after
that
hours.
whale is pissed.
Right. I was like, well, I mean, and that's the thing, maybe to be fair, because the Neo ones were April monthlies and the Uber ones were May monthlies. So it's possible that they're still viable plays and they're just waiting them out because they know they're going to come to fruition. So that's why I'm also still curious and I'm still holding it. But yeah, it's just
Yeah,
odd to
I
me.
guess I guess maybe like maybe the earnings itself was just like maybe this was just their opportunity to pull the rug on people. But those deep out the monies, like they don't expire for a while yet, don't they? Like they don't expire until when do they? When did that
So
expire?
here, I'll pull them up real quick. I believe the Neos were April
It's like
monthlies.
50. Yeah, I see a lot of monthlies for April and May, mostly May's. The big ones were the $35 calls for
Here, I'm
hold
gonna
on.
I'm gonna
Oh,
tag
that was
you.
the Uber ones. I'm sorry, that was Uber. Neo 21s for April. Okay. Yeah, this is a $5.5 million bet.
But then look below it at the multi-leg. It wasn't even. It was almost 10 million because they bought 35. Or I'm sorry. They bought. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, they bought 5.5 worth of the 21 calls and then sold 3.8 of the 21 puts for the same
Yeah, but
strike.
they gave themselves until April 14th, so maybe this whole rug pull on earnings is just so that they can accumulate, because
That's
that's
kind
what
of what I'm
earnings
thinking.
tends to be. Like I'm thinking that Neo rebounds. big
Right.
time. And this was a volatility crush thing so that they could get even more options and they could accumulate them slowly. Like maybe that was the whole point, is they want to trick people into buying a bunch of options before earnings. It was a big speculative bet. And then they just pull the rug, they just short the hell out of it, crush it, and then they basically stop loss hunt everybody for their calls and their shares, and then go ahead and sell a bunch more puts.
One, and also
Because
feel me on this, because I mean, if you look at today's, I mean, obviously the market very much sold off today, but if you look at, Tesla next to Neo next to SPY, I mean, they all pretty much as Neo's earnings weren't fantastic or anything like that, I definitely think that drive down was exacerbated by SPY and the EV sector as a whole. So I feel like with the inevitable rebound of, like, say, Tesla running up or anything, I feel like it might just bring it right back up into that range, especially after
for real.
the chart you're looking at right now. Obviously, you can see that was a bull channel breakout as well within the last few days there. So
I'm thinking that you're right. The just there's so many earnings that, like, there was this big bullish bet that came before the earnings, and then the earnings itself there was a big sell off, but you never
DraftKings.
saw that same proportionate amount of selling of those options, like as in the form of that giant whale just was disappointed. And now that I'm looking at the chart for Neo, I'm actually seeing an inverted head and shoulders pattern right here. Like it's coming together right now,
And that was the
and
thing.
it's about ready to tap.
You did
So
that clip last night, and I was putting it together, and I noticed that you mentioned kind of in passing, yeah, it might be forming an inverse head and shoulders, and I was putting it together. I was like, yeah, you might be kind of right, because I mean, if it taps, and then Tesla and SPY have like this rebound of a day, or just EV in general, or just Neo after getting beat down so much, that was the other thing. They
yeah,
actually got. Not only did they actually they beat earnings just not as great as everyone thought, but also they got a price upgrade apparently from a bank, and that's how it reacted. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, huh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
that that doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense. Like
all
there's
after $10
none of
million
the
dollars being
activity
bet.
makes sense. Yeah, none of this activity makes any sense. Like the price is not reflecting what I would expect Neo to be doing. It's literally opposite. You know what I would love to do actually is I would love to see if Unusual Whales has any Senate trades on Neo right now.
Any what? I'm sorry.
If Unusual Whales has any Senate trades on Neo.
Oh, very, yeah, that'd be very curious.
If Pelosi bet on it, I'm gonna just sell everything else I have. I'm gonna put it all on Neo.
Oh,
Whatever
you know it.
Pelosi buys, I'm buying. I will bet my house. If I had a house, I'd bet it on it.
And the other thing too, I felt obviously quite silly, but last night even as the day was starting to close out, more bets came in for Neo that were bullish as well. So it wasn't even that was just the main one that set it off. That was at like closer to noon, but then at like 2, 3, I saw
Mhm.
more flow. So I was like, I'm buying more, so I bought even more country. I was like, so it was just odd to me. And I think it was like a 60-40 split on the bull bear premium. So it was a lot of bullish flow relative to everything, but.
Yeah, yeah, for real. You know what? I mean that kind of convinces me, honestly. Like I'm looking at this and I see I see the price of Neo. I know that it's like I know that I'm basically being an oppositionalist when I'm trading this, but I look at what Neo is currently doing and I just think to myself, like, what if this just turns around on Monday? What if this is just a big pile of horse shit, this whole idea that that Neo is selling off after a pretty like otherwise a pretty normal earnings report. Like it's not a bad earnings report. It wasn't that bad.
Pulls a
Well, and also
Snapchat.
let me and also real quick, just for reference, I'm just gonna pull up really quickly my chart on the stream just so you can see what I'm talking about. Um,
Hmm.
Look at these four charts. I mean, this is obviously Neo, Uber, Mullen, Spy. Like they're all doing this exact same patterns. I mean, like and then also bringing up Tesla in that regard, that it also did not have a great day and is trying to keep that 1,000 mark. Same exact. So I mean, this Neo in earnings in and of itself, I feel like was less of an effect than all of this was. So I feel like with
Hmm.
Tesla, coming back, and then everyone kind of coming to their senses that Neo's earnings was not that bad, then it'll actually come back, which is why I'm happy I have time. But
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the amount of time that I got with those calls. Like just that flow by itself is pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good bet. And I'm looking at this thing like it definitely broke this downtrend. Okay, like this is a clear breakout. Now it's getting ready to bounce off this downtrend. I'm gonna add to my position. You know what? It's the last trade of the day. Why the hell not? Let me see. What can I sell? I'm gonna reduce my exposure to PROG because I have way too many calls in PROG. It's dumb, and they're like 80% in profit. I need to sell some of these. I need to be a little bit more reasonable. I'm gonna take some of this off the table, just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's just the calls.
I'm just looking at the Senate. What is it? The financial disclosures, and on the 22nd of March, 4 senators filed for an extension to for the due date for their reporting.
Jesus, I swear my headphones mess up at the worst times. After I stopped talking, what did you say, TD? I'm sorry. You said you were taking a position, Neo position or something like that?
Oh yes, I'm gonna add to my Neo position.
Sweet.
I'm gonna go ahead and sell just a little bit of my Progenity calls, just because they're really deep in profit right now, and they expire April 14th. They're like 80% in profit, so I'm just gonna take a small portion of it off the table. I say small, but it's literally like 30% of my portfolio.
Which stock is that? PROG.
Yeah, Progenity. I'm just taking a little bit off the table because I need the extra capital to go ahead and add to my Neo position.
This is what stock hoarding looks like, people.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that as well is obviously the same exact thing that made me do the Neo play is Uber, and Uber did the same, took a dump today, and now it's running alongside Neo, and currently Neo's actually trying to push almost 1993, so that's interesting. But yeah, no, it's doing the same thing, and I have the same bet on Uber, so I'm just curious.
I don't know what it is about these cars, man, but something's going on. Something's going on.
On the 17th, another 3 of them asked for an extension. There's they get like 3 months, so they still can't do it on time.
Looks like where do I have? Nobody's gonna give me my fill on these calls. Cheap bastards.
Damn, now you got me wanting to average down a little because I'm definitely down on these 2 positions that I picked up yesterday, obviously, but I'm already pretty
averaging
heavy.
down on what?
My Neo and my Uber calls. Like I picked up the same strikes, same expirations from that unusual whales prints. Obviously, they're down right now, a pretty decent amount, but I kind of want to.
I got you.
I don't know if I should though. I'm already pretty heavy.
It's never a good idea to like overexpose yourself.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't want to like chase, or like not really chase, but yeah, chase a potential.
I want to add exposure because my Neo calls are so puny. Like I have 3 contracts. There's just 3 of them, and they're relatively cheap. They're not that cheap, just because Neo's trading at $20, but it's pretty cheap. Neo's pretty cheap right now. These calls, and look at how due it is for a reversal right now. Just looking at that downtrend chart, Neo is oversold.
And that's why I thought I was playing it relatively safe by going with, because I went with pretty close to in the money because it was trading around 21 yesterday. So I went with 22s, and then at the end of the day, I picked up a couple 24s because it was showing a lot of strength. But
yeah, like look at this. This is where the support. This is where it found support, and it bounced off of that huge dip. Okay, this downtrend, this downward channel, it's been going for a while. It's oversold. It needs to come back. Neo's not a bad company. There's no real justification that I can think of for why it would sell off like this.
Yeah, and
also, accumulation. You know what's funny? Actually, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this chart pattern, and I see another inverted head and shoulders right here. I'll go ahead and throw the line down on the shoulders. Shoulders, head. I guess it's still part of the same pattern. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, I mean, they all work together. I mean, the bull channel mixed with the inverse head and shoulder. I mean, they all kind of work in tandem to a degree.
Of course, it's all confirmation bias. You can see whatever the hell you want to see with technical trading.
That is the truth. I figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
I figured out my lines don't actually keep the stock from falling. Like I thought that it would, like, physically stop it, but turns out, alas, it does not. I'm gonna laugh my socks off if Neo just rips an after hours. Just like psych.
That will be like... that will be funny. If it does, that would be lit. That would be legit. Dude.
And Uber too. Uber is just ripping right now into close. It's almost at 34, and that's, you know, I don't know. The effery is real.
I appreciate you being so being so diligent. So diligent. Progenity is not going to give me they're not going to give me this fill. I don't want to sell for 16 cents for these calls. That's not what they're worth. Okay. Well, I guess I'll do a day trade on my Fidelity account. I don't like trading options on my Fidelity account because I don't watch it it's not as easy to make a trade on the options on Fidelity, and I don't look at it as closely. But
sell your kids to get into MULN.
I have a lot of unused. What's that?
Jimmy said, "Sell your kids to get into MULN and buy them back." Not financial advice.
Y'all have interesting investment theses. All right. What in the mess? Oh, that was the 21 strikes. Okay. All right. I really like the I really like the interest in the 22 strikes as well for April 14th.
Oh yeah, the OI is super high on even the higher strikes.
Yeah, I'm detecting rug pull, or not rug pull. I'm detecting a big reversal. I smell bullshit. Somebody's playing games. They want to stop loss on people. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw some calls down onto my Fidelity account. Neo has disappointed me before, but maybe this time will be different. I'm ready to be hurt again.
Secret ingredient is love.
Secret ingredient is love. How much will it cost me to get 10 of these? It's $850. That's too much.
All right, Uber, do your thing now. Jesus. Where were you at all day? Man, SPY is just green ever since it bounced off of 450.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Fidelity. See, I get better fills on Fidelity. I like that about it. Fidelity saved me 3 cents per contract. Or 3 cents per share on those contracts. I like that. That saved me like a whole $90.
Oh yeah, Captain.
Can you say that about anything else? Is that your broker saves you almost $100 on a purchase?
All right.
It's honestly pretty nice. I've got some. I've got plenty of equity in my Fidelity account that I'm not currently using. I've been selling puts on my Fidelity account. That's the one thing that I have been doing. I've been selling puts and selling covered calls.
Do I want to average? I want to average down these calls because, like, I really feel like we're correct in our theses here, and I feel like at minimum I can at least get a better average. Ugh. Yuck. I don't like it.
Are you serious, MULN?
What's MULN doing?
Yeah, it's pushing.
Oh, we pushing? Oh, PROG's having a nice little test of its
Yeah, they're both
top of
starting
the trend there.
to wake up.
Oh, baby. Oh, the Qs are ripping along the SPY, so the tech sector's ripping. Oh, man. This is redonkulous. Like, how much money was lost and made in, like, the moves today is just atrocious. Like, it's just, like, just to know that is just, wow. Like, "5-minute warning for everybody. 5-minute warning till ding dong ding.
Ding dong ding.
Ding dong ding."
I just added to my SPY puts.
Nice.
Don't trust this either.
Yeah, it's a shame. They know that
I
we know
do
how to
not
draw lines.
I do not trust the SPY either. I'm not ready to buy puts just yet. I think they're probably going to drive it a little bit further, but I firmly think that this thing is going back to 430.
I'm just getting in. I'm getting in slowly. You know, like I'm not going in like all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is that top of that trend. I'm gonna wait to see it get rejected first. If I see this head and shoulders complete on the SPY, then I'm gonna go take some deep out the money puts. I'll probably go as far out as May because the profit will be the best on that. But 430 puts for May would print pretty freaking nicely if SPY went back down below 430. And if it breaks 430, then it's going all the way down to 400.
Oh, that was another small tidbit I wanted to bring up in relevance to that whole flow conversation we were on earlier when you were not here. There was a SPX print for, I think it was June, a lot of XPS prints for June, but one of them was for $50 million.
Whoa.
So, and then immediately after that, the SPY tanked. So I'm just kind of like, what? And that's what I'm saying about the Neo thing, the Uber. Like, this all seems really weird now. Like, to where we're seeing these huge bets come through, and then immediately the exact opposite happens, and then everyone gets shaken out, or this or that or the other. And then a week later,
Yeah.
everything kind of comes, or even a couple days later, an hour later, everything goes the opposite way.
Yeah. I have to wonder if they I don't know. Anything I say at this point would just be this wild speculation, conspiracy theory shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's all conjecture. I just really thought I was reading the stuff wrong at a certain point. Like, because I was like, everything that I see come up here, then I'm like, oh, that's substantial. It ends up being the opposite thing. So I'm like, am I just reading it incorrectly? Like, see, like, oh, no, you got to turn this filter on. I'm like, oh, like something like that. Like, but no, it's just all weird.
What I am truly terrified of is this cross of the 200. These these death crosses are coming quickly for the SPY, and I really think that the crash is on its way. I've been talking about it quite a lot, and the stuff with the housing market that's been being talked about in the Discord is got me. It's got me thinking that shit's about to go down, literally and figuratively. Look at the SPY. And if you look on the weekly chart, it's a big head and shoulders at the top too. Like, tell me that's not a head and shoulders, please. The SPY does not look healthy. And I will say this about SPY is The SPY has never survived a cross. The SPY has never survived a death cross of the 200 moving average. Every time that has happened, the SPY has lost more than 30% of its value. Every single crash was preceded by a death cross, and only the death crosses have ever come true.
Ooh,
They have been the only predictors.
SPY.
Like here's all the death crosses of 2008, and then the SPY died.
My God, SPY.
Yeah,
at
the market is
450,
ripping right now.
270.
Yeah, market's ripping right now, but I don't trust it. I don't trust this shit. I don't trust it. You've got 5 seconds.
You know what it is? It's Robin Hood getting everybody out and people being able to cover up on their positions.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of effery, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I hear it. I hear you.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. That's it. That's the market. Yeah, they want everybody to believe that this MACD cross is going to happen, but like I'm looking at how steep this candle is for the SPY. There are no steep candles quite like that one, except for after the COVID recovery on April the 6th, or the week of April the 6th, 2020. That's the only weekly candle that comes close to what this one is. There's no way the SPY is recovering this much without some serious pullback, and I really think that this is a giant pile of bullshit right here. I would love to be wrong, because if the market is healthy, then it means that everybody is doing well on their investment plays, their 401ks, their pensions, and all of that stuff, but I don't believe it. I just don't. There's so many things going wrong in the market. There's so much wrong financially, politically, even in terms of like foreign policy and war going on. Like the SPY doesn't make any sense. There's no explanation for why the market is doing so well these past 2 weeks. It shouldn't be doing this well. I don't believe that this is accurate. I don't believe that this is real. I am expecting a major rug pull on the SPY.
I love that Neo's already testing $20 in after hours right now.
I'm so glad that I got my fifth.
I'm just like, what? Like, it's like, seriously?
Monday will be Monday will be fun, I think. Monday will be fun. Okay.
Ding, ding,
So,
by the way, everybody. We are done with the day.
that's it. That's it for the day. So, quick recap on how things went for the day. We'll go ahead and look at our favorite tickers. So, MULN sold off a little bit. We had a pretty bad gap down this week. The open of the open today saw us retrace from $3 all the way back down to $2.30 at the at around midday. We've since consolidated, and we've based around this support at $2.30, which is not bad. $2.30, $2.40 is about what I expected as the lowest low. If we end up breaking down below this level, though, like $2.20 would be a clear breakout on high volume, then I would say that that's it for MULN. That would be a clear downtrend and breakdown. But MULN likes to move on Monday, so I'm taking the risk. I have averaged down on my position since taking profits near the top, and I've got a little bit more capital in MULN that I decided to just throw on top, just to in case this thing makes a nice rebound. There's a lot of short interest on this thing right now, but it is fully utilized. So there is, if there gets to be another surge of volume, if people are willing to take risks, the market makers are still over leveraged on this. They are still piling on short exempts on this thing, and they are borrowing shares like crazy, looking everywhere they possibly can to borrow shares in order to keep kicking the can down the road, and they're digging themselves into a deeper hole every time they do it. The only way that they get out of this now is if MULN goes back down below $1 where they can cover without just to get neutral. Just to get neutral, they would need to go all the way back down to $1. That's what they would have to have happen. So at the moment, MULN is still looking strong. It's still following these higher lows patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and reset these. This is the new breakdown support. So if it breaks below the $2 level, like that's probably it. It's going back down to $1.60. But MULN has plenty of supports there and even further below. So if you're just looking to avoid getting washed out of your trade, then another thing that you can do just as an option for a hedge, and I did this, I bought some puts that were just really, really cheap. And if for whatever reason my calls end up bleeding out, then the puts will save me, and they were really cheap. So if those burn, then I'm not worried about it. If the puts go worthless, then that's fine. That's a sacrificial, $100 or whatever in order to protect hundreds more, so that guarantees me at least salvaging the position, and that I don't get totally washed out of the trade, and I won't completely lose out on all the profits that I made on the run up. This is something that I learned how to do when I took my lumps on SPRT. So it's good to take lessons from all of those events. Even if you have a really killer run up and you trade it perfectly, and then all of a sudden you make just the wrong decision and you stay in a little too long without hedging your bet, you can end up regretting it really deeply. So it's always a good idea to take some money off the table. And if you're still going to stay in the stock, if you're still going to leave some skin in the game, then it's always a good idea to leave yourself a little bit of protection. You're not hurting your chances by taking a little hedge. If you take some money off the table and then buy yourself a protective hedge against volatility, just with as soon as you see these big run-ups like this, it's okay to buy some puts and just to protect yourself and protect your capital. It's worth taking these lessons every single time that you experience them. But anyway, just to wrap up my thoughts on MULN, this is big support here where it's currently at, just based off of this volume shelf. So if the price starts to if we see the price lift back over here, then we're going to be back in that zone of strength, and we'll see another rebound. Hopefully, if we get above $3 again, we'll get another surge, and the stock can keep running. But we'll just be patient and try to keep your expectations in check. Let's be realistic. We are fighting a big entity. We are fighting market makers. So always remember that. Let's go ahead and take a look at AMC and GME. AMC closed the day at 2024. It's now currently up another 20 cents in post market. Sorry, 15 cents in post market. I'm seeing a very nice bullish pennant on the daily chart here. I'm sure you'd see it even more clearly if you looked at it on the 2-hour chart. But in any case, that's no big deal to me. I've got a vertical call spread from 20 to 30 on AMC. That's just because I don't expect it to just squeeze out of nowhere. I expect it to hit a ceiling at some point, meet resistance around $30. That's based off of these previous highs here. So what you're seeing right here are resistances and when it sold off last. So as soon as I see AMC hit $30, that's going to be my signal to close out that trade, get out of those vertical call spreads, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for resistance, and I'm going to wait for it to take a dip, and then I will go ahead and add back into my position. GameStop, I'm probably going to stay out of it. I'll just be perfectly honest with you. I don't really like to trade GameStop because the options are just way too expensive. I don't like to, but I see huge bullish upside for this one. If you are in this for the MOAS, if you've got a lot of shares and you're still averaging down all the time, great. That's fantastic. You do you. Right now, I see inverted head and shoulders pattern on the 30-minute chart. and I see it getting ready to break out on a bull wedge here. So if you see a breakout above 160, I'd expect you to meet resistance at 180. 180 has been a historically huge area of resistance for GameStop multiple times, going all the way back to last year and even during the original squeeze in January 2021. So just be aware of that. Couple of other plays. Oh yeah, Progenity. Big play for Progenity. Progenity likes to move early morning on Mondays, so I'm expecting big things from Progenity. It tested 108. It tested $1.80. That's a huge area of resistance. So the fact that it has now touched it for the second time, just in the past month, is very bullish for me. I'm expecting it to continue to consolidate and maybe make a run to try to break out of that zone. I expect Progenity to meet resistance at 240 to 250. By the way, earnings is on Monday. I believe it's happening in the evening, if I'm not mistaken. It has a float of 147.5 million shares on the float. There's a roughly 150 million outstanding shares for Progenity. It's quite it's a mid cap stock. I'm sorry, no, it's technically small cap, but anyway, if this thing does get moving, Progenity has some pretty huge upside ahead of it. It's got a lot of good things going for it. We're looking specifically for data for the pre-occludia or the preeclampsia preclinical trials testing results. That data is very significant. That's going to be a huge announcement and a big bullish catalyst for Progenity. If they announce that during earnings, expect it to run. It's like it is already in the works. They have the data. We know that they have the data. We're just waiting on them to announce it. They did release a patent from the U.S. Patent and Trademarks Office as well, which is linked to precludia. That was issued a couple of weeks ago now. So that information is we're expecting that to be included as well. So this is a big earnings call. I would expect them to announce it here. They are obligated to announce this very soon. They should have announced it earlier. They're basically running it up to the deadline. So I don't think that they're doing that by accident. I'm pretty sure that they were just giving themselves an opportunity to buy shares because they have to wait until after earnings in order to buy the shares. So anyway, right. So I think that'll do it for Progenity. Expect there to be some pretty significant volatility on Monday. If it makes a big move, then well, congratulations. BBIG, it is continuing to test these support levels, and it's still holding strong, very solid support at the 285 level and above. It keeps bouncing around in here, so this consolidation, I would expect lower highs, higher lows, continuing on into April. And there's a lot of calls that are expiring for BBIG April 14th. So I'm probably going to say if I take a position, it's going to be out till May. I'm not going to take another position for April. There's a lot of gamma potential for April, but I'm not going to buy calls for that because that's a good way to disappoint yourself by having a whole bunch of your options expire worthless. That being said, I'm already out of my April calls. I don't have a position in BBIG at the moment. I am looking to get into one after this consolidation runs, and I let the theta eat away at some of those call options. That's just the way that I'm choosing to trade it. I am bullish on BBIG. I just don't have a position right now. I think I mentioned how the SPY is like probably going to die in a fire at some point. We just don't know when. Some of the other call outs by Scourge, we have ALZN, which had these multiple mirror indicators here. So these are back-to-back spikes and short exempts on the days of, and we had this run here, and now it's consolidating. It's kind of looking like parabolic arc, maybe like bullish pennant. Parabolic arcs are pretty rare, so I hesitate to call it that, but I will at least call it a bull flag. So nice bull flag here after a big run. I'd expect a breakout here above $1.25 going into next week or the week after. I've given myself until May 20th for my calls to expire on this one, and they're still pretty cheap. So I think they're like 13 cents. GILT is another one that Scourge called out. This one is got a lot of volatility, a lot of short exempts, and this volume candle was big news. It looks like it averaged down on that day, but I'm thinking that something is about to happen. There's a few wedges that this is broken out of, and now it's made a run for its previous resistance at close to $9. So if we see this thing test $9 again, I expect a breakout. Again, calls on that one are pretty cheap, so that's a pretty low risk. Well, you're risking a low cost basis, but it is still a high risk trade. Excella Technologies, this is another one that we were looking at. There's a lot of volume and volatility. They reported some pretty good earnings, a little bit low on revenue, but they surprised with a 57% return on earnings. The calls for this one, I think, are at $1 currently, and that is the price to beat. So there's a lot of gamma potential above $1. If this thing is going to run, it's going to only come after a lot of share buying, though. IRNT. Oh, right. We broke out of this falling wedge here. Broke up, and we're kind of basing around this zone of demand here. I'm expecting it to break out once it gets above 515. If it gets out above 515, the resistances to beat are 7 and 950. I've kind of marked them a little bit lower just so that I give myself some early warning if the price is running up to those positions. Reason why the breakout of 5 is significant is because there's this big gap here from earnings when it's sold off. So if we fill the gap, we'll jump straight to 7, and I'm expecting there to be very little resistance from there. Further to that point, another little bit of confirmation is the OBV. The OBV is diverging to the bullish side. That's a good sign that there's likely going to be some movement in this one. And we've also got earnings, which is always a catalyst. So I've given myself until May for my calls on IRNT. MAPS is another one. I recently sold my position just yesterday in MAPS. It was just a small amount of calls. It had this breakout, and now it's meeting resistance. So I'm waiting for that resistance to play out, looking for consolidation and for it to hold this zone of support here at $7. As long as it continues to hold, then I will probably go back into my position and I will roll those calls out to July. So I'll be looking to buy calls for July. BKKT, another one that's beginning to show consolidation here. It had a big run up, sold my position during that big run. Now I'm going to wait for consolidation because I know that this resistance at 780 is extremely strong. If I see it break out of 780 at any time, or if I see it start to consolidate closer and closer into a wedge, then I will go back into a position. I would be looking for it to start consolidating pretty strongly towards April 14th. In the meanwhile, BKKT is probably one that if you want to get in on for shares, you could try doing that. But another option might be to sell some puts for like $6. BKKT's got some, you can sell puts for $6, and if for whatever reason it breaks down, you can acquire those shares, and if not, you can get some premium that you can use to buy your shares with. That's just one strategy that I use to accumulate a share position. But you do whatever's right for you. Neo, as we said, we're looking for this one to run. There's an inverse head and shoulders here off of a downward channel, which it just broke out of. And Neo, when it gets legs, it really runs. TLRY is the weed stock that I'm paying attention to. Don't currently have a position in it, but if it does continue to make a run, I'm looking for a breakout of above $9, and above that, I would expect it to make a big move. For me, if I was going to invest in TLRY, it would be for a long-term position. Basically, hold it for the next 10 years. Have I forgotten any others? Nile, another one that's volatile, pretty similar to ALZN. I would kind of regard ALZN and Nile to be pretty much the same stock. They're held by the same entities, and they do have a lot to do with MULN. It's all the same players that are invested in it. So, and I probably would say be careful of pump and dump, because that's kind of what this is looking like. Just calling it like I see it. All right. I think that about covers it. We went a little bit over today, but I hope you guys got good use and value out of the closing thoughts and remarks. Okay, you guys want to see CEI and IMPP? I'll take a look at those. That's fine. I do like the energy stocks. CEI, I do have a position in for dollar calls. I gave myself a lot of time on those. Those aren't expiring until May. But we are seeing some consolidation on this, and it is following higher lows. So expect this thing to continue to consolidate. I expect CEI to either make a breakdown or a breakout before mid-May. But at the moment, it looks like it's consolidating. So just know that your resistance is $1. If it breaks out above $1, that's great. That's fantastic. So you should be very excited if you see CEI break out above $1 with high volume at any point. I've already covered MULN Flybeast. You can go ahead and go back into the video and take a look at it. Well, Kat, if you have time, if you want to chop out some of the DD into some separate videos, but I don't want to ask you to sacrifice your evening.
Yeah, I may be able to put something together. I'll take a look at it.
It's only if you want to, and only if you're not doing anything. But I know that people would love to hear some due diligence on MULN, AMC, GME, PROG, and BBIG. Those are the big ones. And then the side plays would be ALZN, Nile, CEI, BKKT, NEO, etc. Okay, the other one that you had asked for was, let me give you the rest of this volume shelf, sorry. Okay, yeah. So big support here for CEI. So, and like I said, big resistance here above. So if you get above $1, there's a lot of upside here. Okay, moving on. IMPP. Very similar to CEI. It's energy. It's oil. The same pump. OBV is starting to level out, so this one may be consolidating for a while. I would hold off. I'm not going to take a position in this. I know that the short exempts were pretty high on this, but it's because of the volatility. It's not really necessarily because market makers are playing games. I would say that market makers were legitimately fulfilling buying orders because there was a lot of volatility in this stock. Like there was just tons of volume because everyone was excited about oil and the fact that Russia was getting cut off from the world. HYMC. Highcroft Mining Corporation. Is this like related to nickel?
That's the one that Adam Aaron bought into.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I believe is it gold? Might be
I think
gold.
it's gold mining.
Yeah, I think it's gold.
Gold mining. All right. Well, I'm not much for gold mining, but I can see that since Adam Aaron bought into it, everybody got really excited. I do remember that announcement came a few weeks ago. So I see it consolidating and kind of basing around support. I would maybe look to see if it held $1. If it holds $1 and you can get a limit order filled there at $1, maybe I would take a position in it. But I see that they're about ready to go into earnings now today. So I don't know. Either you're too late or you'll have a really good entry opportunity coming up soon. I don't know.
One of the things to watch out for Highcroft was I've seen some people posting that their short interest is sky high right now. It's another one of those, I think they're doing dilution, and the float hasn't updated yet. So people need to keep an eye on it. If you're looking at the float numbers, make sure you check the float yourself and see if it's been updated.
Gotcha. Very good to know. Thank you very much for that update. Okay, so yeah, you heard it. The float is currently a little bit in flux right now with dilution. Yeah, I would be careful of it. 36.5 million is a very small float. This is a micro float stock. And this stock has like the market cap is tiny. This is a micro cap, micro float stock. It can move by a huge margin. Adam Aaron's investment in it, I find interesting and curious. He does talk a lot with his retail investors, so this could be like a very quiet signal from him of something to come. I don't know if he has access to insider information, and I won't make that claim. But I do think that Adam Aaron is a very shrewd businessman. He knows what he's doing. He's a very intelligent man. He's been in business for a long time, and he has saved many companies. And to my knowledge, he has never invested anything that was doomed to fail. He has always found some success in anything that he has invested in or anything that he has ever served on the board of. So I would be very I'm not
Would
going to
you
say
get?
cautious, but I would set your expectations. Okay, keep your expectations in check.
Would you say? Would you go as far as to say that everything he touches turns to gold?
The man has Midas touch. Oh, that's funny. Well, I gotta say, well,
That's what I'm here. That's what I'm here for.
saved the Sixers. He saved the Sixers, and he saved Norwegian Cruise Lines. So, and that was his first business as an executive that he's like served on the board of. So, and he's still on that board today, as I understand it. Norwegian Cruise Lines does very well for itself. So, yeah, Adam Aaron's involvement in this stock, it could mean nothing or it could mean everything for it. I don't know. But I will say that given that it's a very small float, you do have to be careful of dilution. With its price being where it is right now, and with it being a gold mining operation, which I just happen to know is extremely expensive to even get started just because the equipment is insane. Like, you're talking tens to hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment just for a single plot mining operation. And they can do very profitable, but then it has a lot to do with luck as much as it does skill. So, yeah, good luck to everybody on this one. I'm not going to take a position. In terms of the technicals, I see consolidation. I would expect a big move going into April. If there's going to be a big move at all, I would expect it going into April. Okay. That's about all I've got. I have been.
Can I ask you something about the gold for 1 sec? Do you think?
Okay, Dave,
do you think?
sure.
Do you think it's anything to do with the fact that China and Russia combined produce about just over 20% of the world's gold? But I would have thought that there are other commodities which they produce a lot more of now. So
that is a good question. I didn't think about it in terms of what China and Russia are doing, but that does make sense. Does anybody know where Hycroft's based out of its mining operations? Where are they located? They're headquartered in Nevada, I see. I saw somebody just said that the earnings for this stock have been moved to March 31st, but I see it here as March 25th on TradingView. So if that's inaccurate, I apologize. Have I heard anything from Jason Pollan? No, I have no idea where Jason is. I don't know where he is. I've tried to reach out. He's not answered me, so I can't do anything. It's been months. But I'm not even in a position to register him as a missing person, and I can't. So, but I would consider Jason missing at this point. I have no idea where he is. Okay, Ali W says that they mine in Nevada. Located on the western flank of Kama Mountains in the Basin Range, physiographic province of northwestern Nevada. Thank you, Scrap Queen and Ali W. Really appreciate the information. Okay. Great. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream here, guys. It's now pretty late in the afternoon for me. I gotta get back to work and close out some business before I leave work for the day. I've already covered AMC. I've already covered all those major stocks. If you want to go ahead and take a look back on the stream, you can go back about like 20-30 minutes and you'll see that I covered both of those. Thank you, guys. All right. That's going to be it for the stream today. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a hell of a week.